Genshin was released about 10 months ago, and to this day, I don't think that it has gotten a review as what it truly is, a gacha game. That isn't to say those that have reviewed it have done so poorly. The current reviews are fine, but most just categorize it as what EA did a few years back in Battlefront, which was randomized loot boxes. To a degree, this is correct, but that doesn't fit this model of game well. As I said earlier, this is a gacha game at its core and is built to function as a gacha game. I have a background in this field of games, that is why I feel like this kind of review needs to be done. For those of you who don't know what a gacha game is, they are free games but with usually poor stories and filled with characters from certain series, mostly obtained through a summon system, which usually costs real world money, the gacha system. An example would be a game I recently retired from, Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle. In this game you had the simple mechanics of Candy Crush with its matching system, but instead of new high scores, you had characters like Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, Frieza, Jiren, Topo, pretty much anyone in that series launching their attacks, which over years have become quite cinematic. The way you got these characters is via banners. A banner is an assortment of limited time available characters, only obtainable via Dragonstones. You have the single summon option and a multi-summon option. In Genshin, this is called Wish. You also have a single and multi-option in Genshin. Before I get into the nitty-gritty of this review, however, I'll give my plain rating of Genshin as a gacha game and why I would recommend it to others. I rate Genshin as an absolute 10 out of 10 gacha, and would very much try to get others to play it. It is a very enjoyable and vast open world to immerse yourself, and it keeps growing every few updates. Now to the main points of the review. First, and the most worrying for many of us, the gacha. Genshin is a simple system. Every 10 pulls you're guaranteed a 4-star character or weapon. However, similar to its predecessor, Honkai Impact, there is a pity system. This automatically gives it the edge in games like Dokkan or Legends, which do not have a pity. On paper, you are guaranteed a 5-star character or weapon every 90 pulls. However, in reality, you'll rarely ever need the full 90, and usually will get your 5-star between 70 and 80 pulls, unless you're really freaking unlucky. This applies only to the standard banner, a permanently available banner. The other kinds of banners are limited time character and limited time weapon banners. For the weapon banner, you have 80 pulls to guarantee a 5-star weapon. This 5-star has a 75% chance of being one of the 2 select rate-up weapons. If it isn't one of those, the next 5-star weapon you pull on this kind of banner will be one of the 2 rate-ups. This carries over to the next banner as well as your pity counter. Say you wanted Song of Broken Pines to go with your new shiny Eula, but instead walked away with an Atmos bow. This weapon being unfeatured at the time while Pines is, that would mean you are guaranteed to get one of the next 2 rate-up weapons. While weapons are nice, it is highly recommended you go for the character banner at all times. Speaking of which, the character banner functions similarly to the weapon banner in terms of its pity and carry over. However, the 4-star characters also can be rated up, and if you pull a non-rate-up 4-star, be it weapon or character, the next 4-star you get will be one of the 3 rate-up ones. This banner has the 90 pull pity, but if you fail to get the rate-up 5-star, you will get them on the next 5-star pull. An example I could use is Ganyu back in 1.2. I wanted to get the Coco Goat, but instead ended up with a broke mage of thick, Mona. My next 5-star was guaranteed to either be Ganyu or the highly anticipated Zhao in the next banner. I pulled the Coco Goat and never looked back. If you wish multiple of the same character or weapon, worry not, they have a dupe system. For weapons, you can use 5 copies of a weapon, the first, and then 4 more to max it. In Genshin, this is called refinement. With every refine level, your passive gets slightly increased and your weapon becomes better. Characters of a constellation system. The player base mainly refers to this as a C level. Example, my Eula is C3, this means she's Constellation 3 and that I've pulled her 4 times in total. Characters start at C0 and end at C6. With almost every constellation they get a new passive or enhancement to their abilities, some for better and some for worse. The only case that it gets worse currently is Ben at C6. He turns physical damage into Pyro, which ruins quite a bit of team comps. With C3 and C5, however, your character's talent level increases and raises its overall limit. If that wasn't good enough, there is also Stardust item you get from extra copies. You can get more wishes, items, and even weapons or characters, but these are usually once a month. On to the second point, Battle Pass and the Welcome Moon subscription service. The Battle Pass resets once every version. From it you can get many valuable items, resin, and a small handful of wishes. The way you progress through this is by playing the game and fulfilling the challenges associated with the Battle Pass itself. You can opt for the free option or spend $20 and get more items and wishes, talent books, and a high tier 4-star weapon at rank 30. The Battle Pass extends all the way to rank 50 and for most part is completed by the vast majority of the player base long before the time limit is breached. The Welcome Moon is this game's monthly subscription service that can be bought for a number of times at once. It costs $5 to get 300 Cis Crystals initially and 90 Primogems daily for 30 days. Quick explanation, 1 Genesis Crystal is 1 Primogem, 160 Primogems is 1 Wish. That's pretty much it for the Welcome Moon, a basic but effective system. On to the third point, the price. Genshin itself is free, but the gacha currency is basically 1 wish for every $2. 50 wishes is $100. Aside from the first time yearly bonus that doubles the amount of Genesis Crystal purchased at no extra cost to you, miHoYo usually makes her summons expensive, and this in my eyes can be seen as a good thing to help incentivize not to purchase your primos and get them through gameplay. That takes us to the fourth topic, gameplay. I don't know how they do it, but miHoYo nails combat. In most gacha games, the combat is plain and not well thought out. FGO's gacha, for example, a simple lining up, matching buttons at the right time and watch them fall. Genshin, much like Honkai, relies on team synergy and emphasizes that the player mix and match to combine various elemental combos to buff themselves and debuff their enemies. I won't go into details about the elemental combos themselves because I usually just use Eula and Fischl for superconduct, and on my other team, I just burn everything alive, including myself, with Hu Tao. You have different weapon types as well for different characters. Eula is a Claymore user, Fischl an archer, Hu Tao is a polearm user, Jean uses single-hand swords, and the final weapon is a catalyst or elemental infused projectile. Characters can range from DPS to defense, healing, and even support. It is advised you get a fitting team that works well together, especially for the late game Spiral Abyss. Outside of combat usually ends the gameplay in most gachas. However, this next factor is what caused Genshin to blow up in the first place and gain the reviews it has now. The vast open world of Genshin Impact is an ever-growing assortment of beautiful landscapes and eye candy, all for the player to explore and pillage free of loot. You can rack up a good amount of primo gems from the world chest as well. You first start in one of 7 regions of Teyvat, Mondstadt. In this area, you will learn about the Animal Archon and his history. The land here is mostly comprised of green, lush grasslands and hills, some canyons, and the rich German-inspired city of Mondstadt. You will come across dungeons, camps, and bases to wreck and steal to help strengthen your arsenal. As you progress and rank up through the story, you will eventually be pushed to the neighboring nation of Liyue, a stunning landscape filled with mountains, a giant vast lake, a forest of towering stone, an assortment of small islands, and to top it all off, the gorgeous Chinese-inspired harbor city of Liyue. You'll learn more about the Archons here, meet the Geo Archon, and become further involved in the Fatui's actions. The third area is not out yet, but is expected to potentially the next version update. This area will be Inazama, the Japanese baseland ruled by the Raiden Shogun Archon of Electro. I won't go into the story because it hasn't had time to fully develop yet, but it is good to the current point. Aside from the main story, there are tons of side stories involving characters and the world they inhabit. To conclude, at least at this level of depth, Genshin is a very, very good game and one of the most generic gacha titles out there. Depending on how this review is received, I could go further into detail and cover things I chose to leave out in this video, like events and whatnot. I do hope you all enjoyed this review and can at least partially agree with me on one or more points I have made. This is the first video since the revamp and my first video in quite some time. I do wish you all a pleasant day and I hope this goes well so I can make more content in the future.